All right. So here we are, and welcome.
Thank you.
Sarah, I think you're up.
Okay. Good morning and welcome to the First UU Church of Indiana, Pennsylvania. I'm Sarah Steelman, your worship associate for today. As we begin our service, we'll be turning off all microphones and they will be turned back on after the service for coffee hour sharing. And now I invite you to sing along with our prelude hymn, We Are by Say Barnwell. The words will be on your screen during the music.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth, keepers of faith, makers of peace, and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are one.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, Pennsylvania. I'm Sarah Steelman, a member of the worship team today, and I am so happy to be welcoming you here to our online space. On behalf of the entire congregation, thank you for joining in. If you're joining for the first time, we welcome you to our shared online space. We hope you will subscribe to our YouTube channel. Search for Pastor Elizabeth Mount on YouTube to find us. Seeing one another's face is an important part of how we feel connected on Sundays. So if you are comfortable, go ahead and leave your video on to enjoy this form of community. However, if you don't have a camera, or if you're afraid that worship at home may make you feel excessively comfortable and you'll forget that you're visible to us all, you can leave the video off and no one will mind. One other feature on Zoom that I want to note, you'll see the chat button just below the video screen, and you can use that feature for our greetings, chalice lighting ritual, and to share joys and concerns during those parts of the service. The First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, Pennsylvania, is a member congregation of the Universalist Unitarian Association of Self-Governing Congregations, united in a web of mutuality that creates our denomination. We have no creed or doctrine, but teach that all individuals have the right and the responsibility to discern and follow their own spiritual paths. We come together to support and assist each other on our journeys and to build our beloved community together. I invite you to stay after the service for conversation. We will open up the microphones for a coffee hour and place you in small group breakout rooms so that people can check in about how they are feeling and what's on their hearts and minds. Special announcements. Members of and friends of First Unitarian Universalist of Indiana, please make sure to note the 2 surveys in your newsletter this week. There's one from Reverend Elizabeth that will help us plan worship, classes, and building reopening for the summer and fall, and one from Penny Vick that is a registration form for all those whose children are planning to attend summer religious exploration. Our summer religious exploration course will be Conserve and Connect and features many outdoor activities built around gardening, growth, and the cycles of life from seed to table. We hope you can join us to learn and help. Let Penny Vick know if you are able to be a part of setup and takedown crew or have gardening or food preservation skills. For all, if you would like to be a part of the shared Pittsburgh Pulpit Flower Communion video, you'll need to record and upload a 7-second video by May 31st. Check the chat for a link to instructions or contact your congregation to learn more. And now I invite you to take a breath and settle yourself into a spirit of worship.
Our call to worship is called co-regulation. From our very first breath, we reach out. Co-regulation, not self-regulation, is in our nature. We find our cues from the sun and the moon, from each parent and caregiver. We find our place on this great turning planet by turning to one another, generation to generation. We awaken to the dawn and fall asleep at the evening's end. Our life journey is a part of something greater, something simple, something divine. A flame cannot be lit without a spark. A life cannot begin without the air, and we cannot begin to find ourselves without love. May we reach out to one another. May we offer love and nurturing care. May we join together in celebration of the interdependence of our lives. In this spirit, let us worship together.
At this time, if you have a chalice or candle, we encourage you to light it. And whether you are lighting a physical flame or simply the one in your heart, you may type, "The flame is lit in," and where you are, joining us from the chat bar. We light this chalice for mothers and mothering, to celebrate those who have taken on the task of nurturing a young one, baby, child, or youth into adulthood, to celebrate those who have nourished the light of truth and compassion in growing minds and hearts, to celebrate those who have committed time, money, energy to the growth of others in this world. In unison, we light this chalice to celebrate and hold dear this flame of love.
And now Penny Vick will share with us our time for all ages.
Good morning. Today is Mother's Day, and Reverend Elizabeth will be talking about the making of a mother today. The story for all ages today is not about a mother, but it's about caring for others. So often when we've lost our mother or a mother figure, or maybe we've moved away and we're not so close, we depend on our friends to be that caring person that nourishes us. And that's what this story is about, those caring people in our lives. It's called Bear Feels Sick by Carmel Wilson, illustrated by Jane Chapman. Alone in his cave, as the autumn wind blows, Bear feels achy with a stuffed up nose. He tosses and he turns, all huddled in a heap. Bear feels tired, but he just can't sleep. He sniffs and he sneezes, he whiffs and he wheezes, and the bear feels sick. His friends gather round. "Come out, Bear, and play." Bear shakes his head. "I'm too sick today." Mouse mutters, "Oh my, Bear's head is so too hot." Hare says, "We will help. Here's a warm, cozy spot." Bear mumbles and he moans, he grumbles and he groans, and the bear feels sick. Mouse squeezes Bear tight. He whispers in his ear, "It'll be just fine. Your friends are all here." Badger fetches water. Gopher cooks the broth while Mole soothes Bear with a cool, wet cloth. They cover Bear up and he drinks from a cup, but he still feels sick. Raven says, "Caw! Come along, Alan Wren. Let us go gather herbs to bring back to the den." They coax Bear to sip just a smidge of tea. "You'll feel better soon," says Mouse. "Wait and see." Bear shakes and shivers. He coughs and he quivers. And he still feels sick. The friends fuss and fret. The friends cook and care. They keep a close eye on their poor sick bear. They all talk in whispers. They walk on tiptoes. They sing lullabies. Then the bear starts to doze. They watch Bear for hours. "We've done all we could." Then the bear wakes up. And the bear feels good. Bear cries, "I'm all better. I'm feeling like new. I'm not hot and achy. It's all thanks to you. Let's celebrate now. Let's go out and play. Let's jump in the leaves. Let's frolic all day." Then Mouse starts to wheeze and Hare starts to sneeze. And the friends feel sick. Bear mummers, "Don't worry," and tucks them in bed. He bundles them up and he kisses each head. He tells all his friends, "You'll soon feel like new. You took care of me. Now I'll take care of you."
And that's our time for all ages.
Good morning.
At this time in our service, we invite you to pass the sign of peace with one another by typing a blessing into our chat, such as, "Peace be with you," "Blessed be," "Namaste," "Shalom," "Salam alaikum," "Great blessings."
And the focus of our UU moment for this Mother's Day is Julia Ward Howe, a Unitarian Universalist connection. Now, long before Mother's Day was celebrated with brunches and flower bouquets and cute gifts or stuffed animals, Julia Ward Howe wrote a Mother's Day proclamation urging women across the world to join in the cause of peace building. Her words held a radical call to create peace that still resonates today. It says, "Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We, the women of one country, will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. And following her proclamation, Julia Ward Howe began advocating for the creation of a Mother's Day for Peace, to be held on June 2nd each year. And this initiative lasted for about 25 years. After that, Methodist Anna Jarvis took up the cause and campaigned for a national Mother's Day holiday to honor the important role of mothers. By 1917, it was a national holiday. Over time, Jarvis came to lament the commercialization of the holiday. And today, Unitarian Universalists celebrate Mother's Day sometimes as a day of care and nurturing, sometimes as Mama's Day, shifting away from the commercialized version and seeking to understand the power of nurturing and parenting as a core value in our faith tradition, one that goes beyond gender and biological relationship. So here's to all who have mothered, all who have cared and protected, all who have nurtured and sheltered from pain. Let us thank all the mothers, all the nurturers, and all the caregivers who seek to make a better world and build the beloved community together.
And now we invite you to join in saying our 7 principles as our Tapestry of Faith children's programs describe them. They are on your screen as we speak together. Unitarian Universalists covenant to honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person, practice justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, accept one another, and encourage spiritual growth, support the freedom to search for what is true and right in life, ensure that all have a vote about matters that concern them, work for a peaceful, fair, and free world, and care for planet Earth, the home we share with all living things. At this time, I invite you to join in singing our hymn number 155, Circle Round for Freedom.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release,
Our centering words are, "Our stories help us to know ourselves," written by the Reverend Douglas Taylor. Gracious and loving God, Great Spirit, Mother Goddess, Spirit of life and love, thou who art known by many names, though contained by none, we gather this hour to consider creation and our own creative part within. We gather as around a campfire, listening to the stories of the people, seeking and searching. Oh, Spirit, we long to find our way in the oft-times difficult days of our living. We long to know and be known amid the good and bad as we walk through each day. For so many things, we offer our thanks. Help us, O God, not to take for granted sunlight and friendship, beauty, and the 10,000 things. We give thanks. We say thank you. We give thanks. Help us, O Spirit, to see the way forward when we have trouble and feel lost. Help us to remember that we participate in creation and can lend our own spark to make life sweeter. Remind us to honor creativity as holy work. Remind us that our stories help us to know ourselves and know what matters in our lives. May the presence of the holy touch each of us in ways that bring us closer to the life-giving power of creation and creativity. In the name of all that is holy, may it be so. We now come to the time in our worship where we share in community all the joys and sorrows, the concerns and gratitudes of our lives, that our joys may be multiplied and our burdens lessened by the sharing. If you have a joy or sorrow to share, please type it into the chat bar during the music so that it may be included in our pastoral prayer.
Loving every child.
We now come to that time that we set aside each Sunday to share together in community the joys and sorrows and mixed blessings of our lives. Let us join our hearts and our minds together in the spirit of prayer. These words are by Leah Ongiri. On Mother's Day, let us mark how beautiful and complex it can be to mother and be mothered. To those who have mothered, we thank you. To those who rejoice in the work, the role, the presence of mothering and mothers, we celebrate with you. To those who are in the thick of parenting children of any age, we appreciate you. To those who experience loss through infertility, abortion, miscarriage, adoption, or running away, we mourn with you. To those who have lost their mothers, we grieve with you. To those who have endured abuse at the hands of their mothers, we acknowledge you. To those who experience pain at the marking of this day, we witness you. To those who are single moms, grandmoms, stepmoms, foster moms, adoptive moms, mentor moms, and spiritual moms, we need you. And to those who are pregnant with new life, both expected and surprising, we anticipate with you. May we reflect with gratitude on the wide spectrum of mothering that happens in our lives and in our communities. And we gather together in this time to share as well in the milestones of our living. In this time, we make room for what is good and for what is hard. We hold gratitude and blessing with all those grateful for time together with family and with friends, with church community, for those holding gratitude for the music, those who have gotten vaccinations with few or no side effects. And we hold in care all that is difficult, holding care and concern with Josiah, whose annual eye test gives some small measure of concern. We hold room for grief with Jim Sheets, whose brother Ricky was lost to COVID on December 30th. For those who are struggling, for those who are in grief, for those who can hardly wait to be back with communities in person, we hold you in our hearts. And for the blessings of our lives, may we be truly grateful for the beauty of the earth and the changing seasons, even for the clouds outside, giving nourishing rain that will soon turn into flowers and fruits and vegetables of the season. Let us give thanks. In times of fragile hearts and of tender sorrows, may we find comfort and strength. May our hearts be healed, and may we be at peace. Amen, and blessed be.
At the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, we share the plate by giving a portion of every week's donations to an organization outside the church. This is part of our congregation's mission to promote compassionate and responsible thought and action in the world by giving back to the community around us every week. So when you give this morning, know that you are making an impact not only for this congregation, but also in the wider communities through our shared giving. You are welcome to give through PayPal by sending a donation to office@firstuu-indianapa.org, as it says on the screen. Or you can send an email to that same address to find out how to set up a bank transfer or make a donation by cash or check with Holly, our office administrator. This month, our Share the Plate recipient is the Chevy Chase Community Center, which empowers disadvantaged populations in Indiana County with love, nutrition, education, and involvement, providing healthy meals for young people and much more for those in need. In addition to giving generously today, you can also help by volunteering. The community center is always looking for volunteers for a variety of positions, including help with everyday operations like kitchen work and building care, as well as jobs requiring specific skills such as grant writing and newsletter development. Please give as you are able to the work of this church within and beyond our walls, as we share in singing our offertory hymn, From You I Receive. The words appear on your screen with the music.
And then this is the moment where I go, actually, it's blessed be the gifts today. I switched it one place and not the other. But please do sing along. This is a lovely song that was composed by Laura and Dave Ferguson.
Blessed be the gifts, blessed be the gifts, the ones we give and those that you reveal. Help us use our gifts, our varied simple gifts, to show our love and help our world to heal. Revive our tired minds, make our hearts more just and kind. Give us souls that rally to the task. Fight for justice, help us teach, help us act and care and reach out to others with a hand for them to clasp.
The Making of a Mother. So mothers, mothering, today is that day when you take your mom out to brunch. Last year, nobody was able to go out to brunch, just about, unless you made it in your own kitchen. We were on lockdown. And I wonder how much the appreciation of mothers has changed over a year. How much the act of mothering has changed. Because in this country, at least, we have a very specific story about mothering. Who mothers, what it looks like. If you close your eyes and think of a mother, you might go back to the 1950s or 60s. A young-ish woman in a house dress with a little apron tied on, busy in the kitchen, a happy hostess, shooing her children out into the front or backyard to play and then bringing them back in for nutritious snacks. That's our core story. What we think of when we think mother. What's on the front of greeting cards. But mothering, nurturing, caring is so much bigger than that. Because the act of mothering is about tender care. And it goes back as far as human civilization and even beyond. Our earliest religious stories, our myths of creation, are about often the act of giving birth, the act of nurturing. We look back into the eons of creation, stories of humans coming out of caves as if from the womb of Mother Earth. We look to stories and poetry. In the Bible, God is seen in the Psalms as a mother who suckles her children. And we look through the ages, time and again, to stories of how we are raised, how we are nurtured. Both the good stories and the cautionary tales tell us that we shall be known by how we are formed, by what we take or leave from our ancestors, and by the communities we choose around us. You see, mothering, nurturing, caring for one another, this is an act beyond gender, and it goes beyond our childhood. When we are sick, as our Time for All Ages reminded us, when we are sick, we need each other. When we are well, when we have capacity, caring for one another binds tight the threads of community that make us ready for what may come. Nurturing one another into growth is forever a part of the community. As a church, we are only a responsible community if we have mentoring, if we have leadership development, if we are spending our time in spiritual growth and encouraging one another to spiritual growth. These are acts of nurturing and care. These might even be called acts of mothering. They are making sure that our community is ready for the hard times, that our community is healthy and growing, that we, each one of us, may care and be cared for in turn. And mothering, nurturing, caring is what gives us courage and strength. Julia Ward Howe linked mothering to peace building. And it is that. In each time that we teach a child, hey, don't hit. Tell your friend what you need. Tell them what you want. Ask how you can help. Ask what's wrong when a child is crying. Every time that we give that training, that example, we are teaching one another to live in peace, to make a world that does not use war as a first resort, and someday will not use war and violence as a last resort either. Mothering is powerful. There is nothing like a mother for being protective of the life created, for knowing what the future means. And it doesn't mean that you have to have given birth to children. It doesn't even mean that you have to be a woman. To mother is to care for future generations. And I know so many of you, maybe every single person here, has engaged in that kind of mothering. James Luther Adams, one of my favorite UU theologians, said rather than the biblical quote, "Ye shall know them by their fruit," James Luther Adams said, "Ye shall know them by their communities." What he meant was who we associate with, who we choose, how we are formed, and how we choose to continue being shaped. This is how we become the kind of human that we are, the change and legacy we leave upon the world. And a part of that comes from the stories that become our legacy, the ancestors we are given and the ones we choose, the relationships not only of parenting but of mentorship, that mothering, nurturing, caring that happens all around us. And then what we give to the future, how we shape what is yet to come, the responsibility we hold for the young who surround us in our lives. So on this Mother's Day, I encourage you to think of a mother, whether your own or another person who has mentored you into being. Bless and give thanks for that relationship. Know that it is in the diversity of stories and ways of being mothered, of knowing motherhood, divine or secular, whether a person or God or Mother Earth. In all these ways we are nurtured. We become and we hold a responsibility to help the future become, as every one of us offers mothering to the wider world and to our younger ones in community. Blessed be this Mother's Day. May you be well.
Please join me now in singing our closing hymn, number 1021, Lean on Me.
You need a hand, we all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. And if there is a load you have to bear that you can carry, I'm right up the road, I'll share your load if you just call me, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
And now I invite you to join me in saying together the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this chalice flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Our closing words are, be well, be true, be loving, by Cynthia Landrum. We leave this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection, our concerns, our care for each other, our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith continues until we are together again, friends. Be strong, be well, be true, be loving. You are now welcome to unmute your microphones and stay for coffee hour. We will be